Hi, this is Rayburn Hare. This is my good friend Dennis. I call him the Colonel. And if you've watched some of our other recordings, you know, Dennis talks about his military career and his 28 years in the Marines. It's fascinating information of what Dennis has learned about life and, you know, his parents and discipline. And one thing that always impressed me as I got to know him as a swimmer is just his commitment to fitness. And as we've talked about, and Dennis talked about learning in his military career, discipline. But he learned discipline early in life from his parents that taught him discipline, and so it's been a part of him. And then of course, you know, he's an avid swimmer. He's been a runner. He's been various things. But Dennis, I guess my question is: 70 years old, you're committed to fitness, and that's important to you. Why? Why is that important to you?
I'd say number one, it makes me feel good.
Okay.
I mean, if I don't do some kind of exercise or hard work every day, I don't feel as good. If I get up and start the morning, you know, working, either on the farm, you know, or swimming or running, I don't feel as good the rest of the day. I mean, that just starts my day out right. And there's some days I don't do something like that because I'm busy working, you know, something else, painting or maintenance, some kind of maintenance work. But being physically active just makes you feel better. It does me.
Now, when you say feel, Dennis, are you talking about physically, or are you talking about how you feel about yourself, or both?
Physically and mentally.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, you feel healthy, you breathe better, but swimming, I took up swimming, lap swimming. I didn't start doing that until right after I joined the military. I was always a swimmer, but never a lap swimmer. And then I got into just swimming laps. And this may sound funny, but while I'm swimming, I relax. I just forget about everything else, and I just think about my stroke and think about gliding through the water. Water relaxes me. My mother always said, you need to live by the water because you've been in the water since you're 5 years old. There's something about water that's appealing and relaxing to me. And, you know, I don't swim real fast. All the laps I do, sometimes I'll swim sprints, but mainly it's just for long distance and just nice smooth strokes. And it just, I get in a groove and I just forget about, you know, some days you think you're never going to get everything done or caught up or bills paid or something like that, and just swimming, I just get away from all that, and mentally refreshing to me. It's so, I not only feel better physically, but more mentally than physically when I get done swimming.
And if you've ever seen, I've seen this guy swim. When he says smooth, it is always what's impressed me. He just glides through the water, and if you ever watch me swim, I'm like a chopping wood or something. But anyway, so and I want to give you a chance to talk about this because you swim laps, and if anybody's ever seen an Olympic-sized pool, you're down, you're back, you're down, you're back, and obviously, and I used to swim about 15 or 18 of those, which would be about 35 lengths, and of course, you know, counting, you think, well, is that a big deal? Well, it is. I mean, after 4 or 5, you lose count. And there's a lot of ways. I've used pennies and various things, and you know, to try to count the laps. But Dennis came up out of just sheer ingenuity and desire. Came up with an idea. Dennis, I want you to tell about that idea.
Well, like Rayburn said, people would stack coins up on the end of the pool, and then when they finished a lap, they'd move a coin to another pile, and then when they had 20 in the pile, they knew they had 20 laps. Some swimmers, between each lane, you have a lane rope that has buoys on it, and some people would slide a buoy every time they made a lap. And then other people, they do make watches and rings that you can look down and see, you know, how many laps you did. But to me, I never wanted to stop and look down and, well, now I'd have to stop and put my glasses on to read my watch.
Yeah.
So I always kind of felt guilty if I didn't know I did 20 laps. So if I said, "Oh, is that 18 or 20?" I'd go, "Oh, I better swim 2 more because it might have been 18." So anyway, and then I got to looking at the starting blocks and how in a swim meet, you got these panels underwater that you kick each time, and at the beginning it starts, and then after they program in. So like if you're going a 400 yard swim at that, when you kick it the last time, it shows your time up on the thing, but it didn't show during your swim how many laps you had made, and that's no big deal for 2 or 4 laps, but some people swim long distance, 1,500 yards or something like that, and you lose count. So I said, well, there's got to be a way I can come up with something that maybe shows what lap you're doing underwater. So I'll consolidate not only the start and stop thing, but also a digital readout of not only how many laps you just did, or what lap you just finished, but the total number of laps and your total time and lap time. And so I've got a U.S. patent on an idea I had, and right now the prototype's being built.
So there you go, ingenuity. As he said, he developed the idea, the concept, and he got a patent for it, and now it's being kind of made, I guess, as a prototype. And then once he gets that, I'm sure he'll try it and use it and use it and use it, and who knows? I mean, this thing will probably be sold all over the world, and my friend Dennis the Colonel will be the beneficiary for that. So I just think that's incredible. I think Dennis, just knowing you and your desires and learning about you has just been a very rewarding experience for me. So thank you for that, and I hope you've learned from Dennis, and there's probably a lot more to learn because he's a good man, and I think he has a heart to, as he said, just to do and to stay fit, stay sharp, and at 70 years old, that becomes a chore. I remember my wife, and I don't know if I don't think I told you this story, but my wife got to know a lady that was 105. She was 105 years old, and if you saw this lady, she was well dressed, well groomed. She was still 105, but my wife asked her one day, said, "Look, what is it, mate?" She said, "I get up and get dressed every day."
That's right.
So for her, it was just getting up, getting dressed, and nowhere to go. But it was a purpose, and of course she was determined to do it. But anyway, Dennis, thank you. This is Rayburn and Dennis, the Colonel, joining me, Life. Thank you.